Take a deep breath. Feel it. Your presence, your energy, the quiet force that shifts the space around you. It's not arrogance, it's not luck. It's the result of something real, something earned. They sense it too. The same ones who overlooked you, who doubted, who underestimated. Now they hesitate, now they watch. But you don't move for them. You don't wait for permission. You've stepped into something bigger, something undeniable. And here's the truth they don't understand. This isn't even your final form. You're just getting started. The world doesn't recognize legends in the making. It only sees them once they've already arrived. But you already know what's coming. Let them wonder. Let them wait. You're here to build, to conquer, to become something they can't define. You are the exception, the shift, the one who changes everything. And the best part, there's not a damn thing they can do to stop it. Now let's get to work. Magnetism radiates from within, an unseen force that reshapes the very space you occupy. It's not just presence, it's the culmination of every challenge conquered, every edge sharpened through time. The pull isn't about superficial allure, it's a gravitational command, an undeniable resonance that draws others in. Every movement is a declaration, every gaze a testament to an evolution carved by adversity and honed by perseverance. It's more than peak strength. It's the embodiment of potential fully realized, a force no longer confined by limitations, but expanding beyond them. The storm has long since arrived, yet the winds do not touch you. They answer to you. There is no hesitation, no doubt, only the certainty of one who has stood at the threshold of ruin and emerged as the architect of their own legend. The adversaries tremble, not because of mere strength, but because of the inevitability of it, because what stands before them is not a warrior, but a reckoning. Power is not a fleeting surge. It is a steady pulse, a rhythm that dictates the tides of conflict. Every action is deliberate, a step toward dominion, carved in the echoes of every challenge faced and mastered. Chaos is an offering, not an obstacle. While others flinch at disorder, it is transformed here into precision, into momentum. There is no stumbling, no hesitation, only the alchemy of adversity into mastery. What appears unpredictable to others is simply an equation already solved, a pattern unraveled before it even begins. There is no fear of uncertainty because it has been dismantled, turned into the very foundation of dominance. They falter, not knowing why, but it is simple. The battle was already won before it began. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. A storm doesn't fight the wind, it bends it. A river doesn't wrestle the rocks, it carves through them. The ones who move with purpose don't waste time battling forces that were never meant to stop them. They shape the battlefield itself. The world will tell you that power is in the struggle, in the noise, in the display of force. But the truth, the real power, moves in silence. The battle isn't won in the fight. It's won before the fight even begins. The opposition may gather, may scheme, may think they've set the terms, but they don't realize one thing. You are not playing their game. You are designing the board. Every step, every move, every pause, it all leads to the same conclusion. The outcome isn't decided by chance, by luck, by who has the loudest voice or the greatest numbers. Victory is a certainty for those who understand that reality bends to those who refuse to break. And then, just like that, the ground shifts beneath them. Where there was once a force to fight against, now there is only absence. But this is not a retreat. This is control. The greatest leaders, the greatest warriors, the greatest minds, none of them waste time proving themselves. They know when to step forward, and more importantly, they know when to step back. Because absence is not weakness, it is leverage. They don't realize it at first. They think they've won. They think they've pushed you out, silenced you, overtaken the space you once held. But then, something happens. Confusion, a missing piece, a gap that cannot be filled. The ones who once stood firm in their arrogance now find themselves unsure, unsteady, scrambling for the presence that once dictated their every move. Because they never understood that power was never in the noise, it was in the silence. And here is where the tables turn. Because while they were fighting to be seen, fighting to prove themselves, you were watching, waiting, positioning. The ones who make the most noise burn out the fastest. The ones who move with intention remain long after the chaos has passed. This is what they never saw coming. They thought strength was in standing their ground, in making their presence known. But the truth? The ones who move with certainty don't need to be seen. Their impact is already felt. Their influence is already shaping the next move before the opposition even realizes the game has shifted. So let them struggle. Let them fight ghosts. Let them search for what they once dismissed. And when the moment comes, step back in. Not with noise, not with spectacle, not with force, but with the quiet, undeniable weight of inevitability. Because you were never just a player in this game. You were always the force that shaped it. The weight of existence bends to the will of the unshaken. Those who once relied on chaos to conceal their weakness now find themselves exposed, confronted with the truth that without the force that once opposed them, they are directionless. There is no need for action. The disruption has already taken root, and they are left in the wake of a presence that does not need to be seen to be felt. What remains is not absence, but a force so vast it lingers even when unseen. A presence that rewrites the very fabric of what they once believed immutable. Every movement, every choice is intentional, a brushstroke in the masterpiece of influence. Silence is not absence, it is refinement, the sculpting of legacy through measured withdrawal. It is not retreat, but recalibration, a sharpening of presence through controlled stillness. What seems like quiet is, in truth, an ignition point, a force forming in the unseen spaces between action. It is not the noise that commands, but the weight of what remains unsaid. A pause, a moment of restraint, and suddenly the world leans in, desperate to understand what has not been spoken. Power is not in constant visibility. It is in knowing when to disappear. A step back is not surrender, but a shift in positioning, a deliberate act of withholding that amplifies presence tenfold. There is no need for grand declarations. Control is best wielded with precision, not excess. Absence is not a void, but a strategy, an unspoken law that governs the actions of those left behind. They scramble to compensate for the missing element, unaware that they were never in control of the equation to begin with. Influence is not in pursuit, but in the gravitational pull created by stepping away. You are not here by accident. If you feel the pull, the knowing deep inside that you are chosen, this is your moment. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to unlock deeper insights, exclusive content, and a path that aligns with your divine purpose. This isn't just a contribution, it's a declaration, a step toward who you were meant to be. Answer the call, walk with us, and step fully into your destiny. Your journey begins now. There is an art to silence, a power in letting others reveal themselves in the space left unoccupied. The mind that thrives in chaos cannot comprehend stillness, and so it fills the emptiness with assumptions, projections, and desperate attempts at interpretation. But silence does not need to explain itself. It does not need to seek validation. It exists as a force unto itself, unshaken by outside perception. They can analyze, they can speculate, but the truth remains beyond their reach, because understanding is a privilege reserved for those who do not demand it. And the last shall be first, and the first last. Matthew 20:16. They don't see it yet, but the shift has already begun. The ones they overlooked, the ones they dismissed, those are the ones rising now. Like a seed buried deep in the soil, unseen, unnoticed, underestimated. But what they don't realize is that the deeper it's planted, the stronger its roots. And when it breaks through, it doesn't ask for permission. It reaches for the heavens, stretching towards something greater. Distance is not withdrawal. It is a mark of dominion. When a king steps back from the battlefield, it is not out of fear, but out of strategy. The general who commands from the mountaintop sees what the foot soldier cannot. You don't need to be in every room, in every conversation, in every moment. Your absence holds just as much weight as your presence, sometimes even more. The same ones who once took you for granted now find themselves searching, wondering why things don't feel the same without you there. That's when they realize it was never them who had the power. It was always you. The world is desperate for attention, scrambling, shouting, clawing for a place in the spotlight. But you don't chase light. You are the light. And light does not beg to be seen. It simply shines. When you pull back, they feel it, even if they don't understand it. The dynamic shifts. The ones who once dismissed you are now the ones leaning in, trying to figure out what changed. But the secret is simple. Nothing changed except their perception. This is not retreat. This is revelation. There is wisdom in knowing when to move and when to be still. A lion does not roar at every passing animal. A warrior does not draw his sword for meaningless battles. The power has never been in proving, in forcing, in pleading for recognition. Power has always belonged to the one who chooses when to step forward and when to step away. And here's what they won't understand until it's too late. Control has never been in the noise. It has never been in the struggle. Control has always belonged to the one who does not need the fight to win it. Because victory is not in the battle, it's in the knowing. Knowing when to walk away, knowing when to let silence speak, knowing that true authority is not granted by others, but claimed from within. They used to think power meant being everywhere, being heard, being acknowledged. But now, they're left chasing after something that isn't even running. They reach, they grasp, they scramble for what was once freely given. But the table has turned. You are no longer standing in their arena. You are standing in your own kingdom. And kings do not beg. Kings do not prove. Kings rule. Let them wonder. Let them question. Let them try to figure it out. But you just keep moving. Not away, not backward, but higher. Boundaries do not exist for those who refuse to be defined. Labels dissolve in the presence of something that cannot be caged, something too vast to be confined by the limitations of others. The attempt to categorize is nothing more than a reflection of their own limitations, a futile grasp at understanding what was never meant to be understood. True power lies in remaining untethered, in standing beyond reach, while the world scrambles to find a way to contain what refuses to be contained. Their frustration is not your concern, and their confusion is not your burden to ease. To step away from expectation is to step into sovereignty. There is no hunger for validation, no thirst for recognition, only the quiet assurance of one who has found fulfillment within. And this is what unsettles them most. They do not know how to exist without external affirmation, and so they cannot comprehend the force that operates outside their fragile framework. But the unshaken do not seek approval, do not chase after fleeting recognition. What they do not understand, they fear. And what they fear, they watch, endlessly, obsessively, waiting for a glimpse of something they will never grasp. Power is not in pursuit, but in presence. The mountain does not move, and yet all things shift around it. There is no need to seek, no compulsion to prove, only the undeniable weight of existence itself. The illusion of scarcity crumbles in the presence of certainty, and the world bends to those who understand their own worth. There is no desperation, no grasping for scraps. The sun does not ask to be seen. It simply shines, and everything else must adjust to its radiance. The foundation of power is not in external validation, but in the unshakable truth of being. There is a stark difference between those who chase and those who command. They reach, they cling, they grasp at shadows, but nothing slips through the hands of those who do not need to hold on. What is meant to remain will stay, and what is too weak to endure will fall away. The weight of existence does not rely on external confirmation. It simply is. The illusion of control dissolves in the face of one who does not seek it. Nothing is lost when nothing is relied upon. To walk away is not to lose, but to demonstrate that loss was never a factor. The inevitable cannot be bargained with. The weak will waver, their foundations crumbling beneath the pressure of presence alone. Some things do not need to fight. They simply exist, and existence itself is enough to cause the collapse of lesser structures. Those who do not belong will scatter. Those who cannot stand will fall, and those who remain will do so because they were always meant to. If this message resonates, it was meant for you. If it does not, then it was never yours to receive. There is no need to force understanding upon those who are not ready to see. There are those who refuse to fold themselves into the mold, who will not shrink to fit the narrow spaces built for them. They are the quiet defiance against mediocrity, the unyielding force that disrupts the expected. They do not walk the well-worn paths. They carve their own, indifferent to the noise of those who misunderstand them. The world spins on its routine axis while they break free, stepping outside the lines, never asking for permission. It has never been about seeking approval or validation. It has always been about becoming exactly what they were meant to be, no matter the cost. Some presences cannot be explained, only felt. There is something different in the way the air shifts around them, in the way conversations pause when they enter the room. It is not an accident. It is the result of something forged in quiet moments, in battles no one saw. While others were waiting for a shortcut, they were building themselves piece by piece with patience and precision. The presence they carry is not something that can be imitated. It is the natural byproduct of mastery. There is no performance, no need to force attraction. It is effortless, inevitable. The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. Psalm 118, verse 22. They didn't see it then, but they will. They didn't recognize what was in front of them, but they will. Because the ones they dismissed, the ones they cast aside, the ones they thought weren't worth noticing, those are the ones rising now. You weren't made to fit in. You weren't made to blend into the crowd. You were built differently, shaped by fire, refined through trials that would have broken lesser men. And now, without saying a word, you walk into a room, and the atmosphere shifts. It's not something you do, it's something you are. Because true power isn't loud, it doesn't beg, it doesn't ask permission. It is simply undeniable. They run themselves ragged, trying to be seen, trying to impress, trying to make people believe they are something they're not. But you don't need to prove anything. You've already done the work. While they scramble for attention, you stand firm, knowing that when something is truly valuable, people recognize it without being told. And let's get one thing straight. This wasn't overnight. This wasn't effortless. The ones who only see the glow don't understand what it cost, because before there was light, there was fire. Before the power, there was the breaking. You had to lose everything that wasn't real to become something that could never be shaken. You've been through the furnace, and you're still standing, stronger, sharper, untouchable. They don't get it. They think charisma is something you can copy, something you can fake. But the ones who truly carry it, the ones who have walked through the fire and come out refined, they don't try to be seen. They don't chase. They attract. Because gravity doesn't ask for attention, it commands it. The weak chase approval. The desperate perform. But you move through this world with the weight of someone who has already been chosen. You don't need their validation, and that's why they can't look away. And here's the truth. They won't always understand you. They won't always know why they're drawn to you, why they want to be around you, why they're trying so hard to figure you out. But that's not your concern. You're not here to explain yourself. You're not here to be liked. You're not here to be accepted. You are here to become everything you were meant to be, whether they understand it or not. So let them watch, let them wonder, let them talk. But you just keep walking. No title, no label, no expectation can contain what has no need for outside definition. While others grasp at names, trying to categorize and understand, there is no interest in playing their game. Silence is more powerful than empty declarations. Presence more commanding than spectacle. The ones who hold true power do not waste breath proving it. They do not announce their worth. They exist in it. And in that quiet certainty, the world bends around them. Because those who do not seek permission are the ones who shape reality itself. Mastery is not announced. It is felt. True power needs no advertisement, no desperate claim of superiority. It is the quiet precision of action, the effortless control over presence. Those who grasp at recognition reveal their own lack, while those who hold true substance let the world uncover it on its own. Nothing speaks louder than the absence of desperation, the refusal to beg for acknowledgement. When everything is stripped away, what remains is undeniable, the kind of presence that does not fade, the kind that lingers in silence long after the noise has disappeared. Not all battles require engagement. There are those who prod, provoke, hoping for a reaction because they believe that validation comes from pulling others into their storm. But stillness is not weakness. It is an unshaken refusal to be dragged into chaos. They press forward, waiting for a misstep, but none comes. The true strategist knows that silence is often the deadliest answer, that stillness holds more weight than the loudest voices. No energy is wasted in proving what is already known. Those who attempt to challenge what they cannot define will always fall short. Authority is not granted by those who seek to control it. It is taken by those who no longer require permission. Influence does not chase, it compels. There is no need for constant presence, no need to flood spaces with empty words. The rarest elements hold the most value, not because they are inaccessible, but because they are never overexposed. When the moment comes to step forward, the weight of it shifts the entire dynamic. It is not about being everywhere. It is about knowing precisely when and where to be. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. There is power in stillness, power in knowing when to move and when to wait. Look at the eagle. Does it flap its wings wildly, trying to prove itself? Number. It rises effortlessly, carried by the very winds that others struggle against. It does not need to convince the sky to hold it up. It does not beg for recognition. It simply soars. And yet, the world is full of those who mistake motion for progress, who equate noise with influence. They rush, they grasp, they push, hoping that if they just do more, say more, be more, they will finally be seen. But true power doesn't run after attention. It makes attention come to it. Scarcity is not a weakness. It is a weapon. The less you give, the more they crave. The less you speak, the more they listen. The less you reveal, the more they wonder. Those who spread themselves too thin become common, predictable, easily ignored. But the ones who understand restraint, they shape perception itself. This is not about withholding out of fear. It is about control. Control over your presence, control over your energy, control over how the world experiences you. Because the moment you stop making yourself constantly available, they realize what they took for granted. And by then, it's too late. But here's the secret. Stepping back is not disappearing. It is refining, sharpening, making every move matter. When you no longer throw yourself into every battle, when you no longer waste breath, proving your worth, you begin to see what was always true. You were never meant to fight for a place at their table. You were meant to build your own. The tides shift, the storms rage, but the ones who know their worth do not flinch. The world does not shake them. They shake the world. Their presence is undeniable, not because they force it to be, but because it was always meant to be. And so the question is not, will they notice me? The question is, will they even know what to do when I'm gone? Because when the foundation moves, everything built upon it crumbles. So stand firm, hold your ground, let them wonder, let them wait, because you are the shift they never saw coming. Paths are not altered by force, they shift under the weight of undeniable presence. Some will move toward it, drawn in without understanding why, while others will resist, unsettled by what they cannot control. Neither reaction is relevant. The course remains unchanged, steady, and unyielding. Influence is not in pursuit or persuasion. It is in the unshaken existence of something so complete that the world must either adapt or be left behind. The noise of those who struggle for recognition fades, while the foundation of those who build remains. Strength is found in the refusal to scatter energy. While the restless seek validation, changing form to fit every fleeting expectation, true power is in rooted consistency. It does not bend to trends or seek momentary admiration. It is unmoved by the temporary. There is no need for applause, no desire for empty recognition. The focus is not on performing, but on creating, on shaping something that will remain long after the moment has passed. The ones who are easily swayed exhaust themselves in the pursuit of approval, while those who understand permanence remain undisturbed. The difference is clear. Some chase visibility, while others create something that will last. Attention comes and goes, but legacy is carved by those who are too focused on their work to be distracted by passing eyes. Their presence alone is a force, not because they demand to be seen, but because what they construct cannot be ignored. The ones who look to the moment will be forgotten with it, but those who carve new realities into existence will be remembered long after they are gone. What is built with intention does not fade. It reshapes everything around it. There is no need to prove what is already understood. The ones who truly move the world do not do so with noise, but with the weight of their presence. They do not seek to be followed, yet others adjust to their movement. Those who live in reaction will always be a step behind, watching but never comprehending. The path is not built by those who seek permission. It is forged by those who walk forward, whether others choose to follow or not. The ones who hesitate will be left behind, lost in the echoes of their own indecision. The ability to remain still in a world that is constantly shifting is a form of power few understand. They search for something to hold on to, something to grasp in the chaos, while the unwavering remain untouched. Attention is never the goal. It is a consequence of something greater. There is no need to explain, to convince, to engage in the distractions of the fleeting. The ones who truly matter will recognize it without a word being spoken. While others burn themselves out trying to be seen, those who understand their own gravity simply exist, and that is more than enough.